Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this tutorial, I'll be demonstrating how to create this awesome fall themed cake. This is a video collaboration with Lorelie from Wedding Cakes for You. Don't forget to check out her awesome video at the end of this one. Because we are making an apple and chai based cake, I have some apples that I'm going to be peeling here, and I've used 7 pink lady apples in total to create this cake. Once they're all peeled, we'll be chopping them up so we can cook them easily. I dice them up into very little bits, and that way they cook a lot quicker. Be sure to take out that middle core first. Step away from your chopping board and allow them to cut themselves up. If you're lucky, they might even leave you a pretty little message. Throw them into a saucepan and burn them with your gratitude. Full of bad jokes today. Add in a little bit of water and some sugar. I'll have all the ingredient amounts listed in the description box below so you can replicate this recipe. I let them cook for about 7 minutes. By that point, they wilted a fair bit, they discolored, totally normal. And then add in the rest of your ingredients. So I added a little bit more sugar, pinch of salt, some cinnamon, stir that through, and a little bit of honey as well. To finish it off, I added in some chai tea powder. You can buy this at either Coles or Woolworths. Stir it through and let it cook for another 7 minutes or so. By that point, it should be nice and gooey and stringy. Place your apples into a container and allow them to cool down before you add them into your cake. In the meantime, I'm going to combine my ingredients. I have my flour, my salt, my baking powder, my chai tea, baking soda, and also some cinnamon. Whisk that all together, kind of eliminates having to sift it afterwards. And then cream your butter. I'm using my Kenwood XL Chef here, my new pretty little toy. Let that beat until it's nice and pale and creamy. And then beat it again for another couple of minutes, gradually adding in your caster sugar. When it's nice and light and fluffy, you can start adding in your eggs one at a time. Make sure to beat on medium-low and don't add in your next egg until the last one's been fully incorporated. All the ingredient amounts will be in the description box below this video. Add in your flavoring. I've added in some vanilla for this cake. And now the next step is important. You want to gradually add in your ingredients, mixing them together. So I've got my dry ingredients, my milk, the sour cream, and the apples. So I've just added them in gradually. If you were to do it all at once, you're going to remove all that beautiful fluffy air from your batter, and it's going to be really dense, really flat cake. So this is why you want to do it in these steps. Once everything's been incorporated, let it blend just for a couple more seconds until it's incorporated. And it should look a little something like this. I've lined my baking tins with some canola oil and some flour along the sides and the bottom, just to make sure my cake doesn't stick. And then heap it in until it's about 3/4 of the way up. Give it a little tap, and then cover them in aluminium foil. I do this and I bake them like this so that it rises evenly and it cooks through evenly as well. I baked mine at 180 degrees. It took about 1 hour and 30 minutes for the 7 inches to bake, and only about 50 to 55 minutes for my 5 inches to bake. Skewer it, make sure that the skewer comes out clean, and then allow your cakes to rest at room temperature until they're cool enough to put out into some cling wrap. I double wrap mine, and then I pop them into the fridge to rest for minimum 8 hours. I left mine overnight, and then I cut them the next day. With a serrated knife, cut your cake in half. If it does have a little bit of a dip or a little bit of a kind of mountain, do cut it off so it's nice and flat. I'll have 4 layers of cake in total per tier. To create the frosting, this is just regular hybrid buttercream. I'll have the link in the description box and also on the eye up top. And I added in some chai tea powder for flavor. How much you add in is totally up to you depending on how strong you would like it to taste like chai. which is like a cinnamon sort of base flavour. Start sticking your cake to your cake board. This is a 10-inch cake board that I've used, and that chai frosting to fill. Create a thin crumb coat around the whole cake, just sealing in any of those crumbs. And then clear up the sides and the top of the frosting. You could also add in a final coat of buttercream here, so a nice thick layer once that's done. I'm actually going to cut into this cake and show you guys. This is the recipe component of this tutorial. The apples did sink a little bit to the bottom. If you were to add a little bit of flour around them, then they'd be more evenly dispersed in your cake. This did taste amazing, by the way. Not to toot my own horn, but it tasted really, really good. And now we're going to pretend that I didn't cut the cake and that it does have a final layer of frosting. I'll link a video so you know how to prep a cake completely for fondant. And draping your fondant over the top. I've coloured mine so it's a little bit like a woodish kind of colour. And then I'm smoothing it down with my fondant smoother. The very bottom. And then do the exact same with your 5-inch cake. Cut around the excess and then smooth down the sides and the top. You don't have to be too careful because we are going to be covering the whole cake and you won't really see if it has sharp edges or not. Stick your cake together with some frosting. Make sure you have some dowels in your bottom tier. I've actually used 2 fake cakes for this because I just want to demonstrate how you would go about decorating this kind of fall cake. I have the same fondant again and I've cut it pretty thick. This is about maybe 5 millimeters in thickness, and I'm cutting out long panels. Use something with a very sharp edge to help guide your knife or your spatula that you're cutting with. I've got an Americolored marker here, so this is actually an edible ink texture. You can use a brush with some gel color instead to help create a wood grain on your panels. But this is much easier. If you're not too comfortable drawing, they actually do make fondant impression molds that you can buy, and you just roll your fondant directly on top and it impresses a grain onto your fondant. That's also an option if you like. Airbrush all over your panels and pay particular attention to those knots that you draw in. Make sure that they're the darkest areas and then follow some of those lines, making them a little bit darker. I also shaded in the whole panel so I had a light brown tinge to it, and then the actual grain and the knots were nice and dark in colour, so it's a little bit more realistic. Let those sit on your counter for at least 20 minutes, that way they're nice and stiff but still have a little bit of flexibility. Makes them a lot easier to handle, and if they are taller than the cake, they won't wilt at the top, so that's the important thing. Make sure that you don't skip that resting step. Attach them onto your cakes with a little bit of water. And then cut a panel down just to fit in where it all meets up. Usually it's not going to be the exact size of the panel, so you will need to leave one to be able to cut down to size. To make the pumpkins, I have some orange fondant creating a crater at the very middle, and then using the side of a teaspoon to help create those indented sections that you normally see on those little pumpkins. Starting inside the crater and then ending at the very bottom. To shade them in, I'm using some orange orange airbrush color and a test run just in case it explodes like last time. So make sure you test it out first. And then I'm working really close to where I've indented those lines so that the airbrush comes out really thick and you can very clearly see the lines. The further away you work from your subject, the more blended it will look. So blending it through at the very bottom, but making sure those lines are nice and dark for dimension. To create the stem, I have some brown fondant, rolling it in my hand and then making sure to press down on one end to make it flat. Stick it inside the little crater, and to create the leaf, pinch it so it's sharp on one end and then pinch it on the other end so it's flat. So one side is pinched, one side is pointy. Poke it in and that is your little pumpkin done. I've made about 22, I think I did. For the little flowers, I have some fondant that I've rolled and then I've pinched one side so it's nice and thin. That side is facing up. Roll the log in on itself and then peel back to create those more realistic looking petals. Cut off the excess. You can make it yellow to begin with. I decided to airbrush mine yellow and then airbrush the very center with a little bit of orange for interest. To stick them onto your cake, I've got some frosting. You could also use royal icing as well. And I did 2 rows because I wanted them to stand up tall, otherwise they kind of get lost behind the extra height of the panels. Fill in as you please, adding little flowers here and there. And then do the exact same for the very top of your cake. It's important to make some larger pumpkins and some smaller pumpkins because as you fill it in, you'll find that some spaces are too small and needed smaller pumpkins. So do make some extra just in case. I have a third tip and I'm creating little grass patches in those areas. In hindsight, it probably would have been a good idea to use like a orange sort of color to make it look like hay, so it's a bit more fall looking. Practice some swirls on a frosting scraper that is angled upwards, so it's a bit more true to what you're actually going to be piping on. Once you're happy with the look of your swirls, you can go ahead and pipe them onto your cake. But it's always good to practice them first. A quick tip to not make them shaky and to make them really kind of seamless, work close to your cake with your piping tip. It just makes for a much neater swirl. And you're done. And that is how you make a really fun to do fall themed cake. I've used an airbrush to create all of the intricate looking details on this. However, you can actually just use brushes and edible food color in the form of powder to create that sort of dimension and shading on your cake. If you guys would like to see that done, maybe let me know in the comments below just by typing out, "Yes, Rosie, we would love to see how to blend and how to create dimension with powders." And I will make sure to make it happen if you guys are interested. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you like it and give it a go. If you do, don't forget to tag us, Rosie's Dessert Spot on Instagram, and that way I can see it as well, and also for your chance to be featured on our videos, just like these awesome creations. We have Dolce_Diary_Melbourne, #Italian, Madiha Bakes, Jamie.CakeMeUp, and Pam_Saw_Abiva. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing creations with us. They look amazing as always. This video is actually a collaboration with Lorelie from Wedding Cakes For You, so don't forget to check out her epic fall themed cake that she's created for you guys, and a really tasty recipe as well, which I think you guys will love. So that is in the description box below or in the cards at the end of this video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for another cake decorating tutorial. Bye for now.